Hello, this is the Apostasy Files, and I'm coming back to you today with some more stuff about Marcus Rogers. This time we're going to focus on a particular post he made earlier in 2024, and then I'm going to kind of segue into more info about his financial dealings. He started out with a rather interesting comment in the beginning of 2024, and he's asking for $1 million, and he won't tell anybody why. And then I find that suspicious with Marcus Rogers, especially because he actually has a history of some kind of low-key, down low, shady kind of stuff that seems to happen to him and around him and through him and outright by him. So I've documented a lot of that on my site. And I don't know if they're all worth their own individual videos, but maybe I thought I'd kind of consolidate them here and just give you a quick look at what they are. I always have more receipts on my website than I put in my videos, so I always encourage people to go look and explore more if you're interested, because there's just the tip of the iceberg with him is just the iceberg is huge and the tip is tiny. So I don't even have time to post all of the receipts. I don't have time to make videos about all the receipts. Once in a while, I'll gather a bunch together and make a video, which is what I'm doing now. But the rabbit holes are huge with this guy, and there's even more available. Seiko Woods did a couple videos on his financial shenanigans. And, he tends to kind of pick on women, especially. He pulls on heartstrings and tends to get them to agree to donate and whatnot, So Marcus posted this around March of 2024 and on his Facebook. And I don't know if he did anything more with it. I don't know if it's even still there or if he's followed up much with it, but it's just really kind of interesting what he does here. He gives no explanation whatsoever. He asks for $1 million. Just because he says he can't produce all the things he wants to do. That could be anything: his mortgage, a new roof for his house, a new car, studio time for another album, a trip to Disney World. He doesn't mention anything about God until the end, where he gives kind of what it sounds like a little snarky remark about not caring what anyone thinks, because God knows what he's doing, so that's good enough for you. That's all you need to know. I'm sure God does know, but that doesn't inspire any confidence in me. And not only that, then he says, well, just get used to it. Get used to being asked to give blindly just because he says so. And my favorite part, in everything he does, he always gives his Marcus Rogers Ministry website. He has two business entities, and one is nonprofit and one is for-profit. The Marcus Rogers Ministry is for-profit, and that's the one he gives out most often. I believe he uses that for his music and books and travel expenses. Donations there are not tax deductible. And the other one is the Firehouse Fellowship 501c3, which he does put on his church website, and I assume that's just for church expenses. Now, if I had to guess, I would say a vast majority of the donated money that goes to Marcus Rogers Ministries goes towards him making albums. This guy, I've never seen anybody put out this many albums. He is just doing this all the time. And he seems to spare no expense making fancy album covers and music videos. And that's a source of income for him. And you could say it's a ministry. His music is kind of usually God-centered and whatnot. That's fine. But I don't know, because what he tries to insinuate is, this money is going to go towards more, actual ministry type events where people are actually being reached for Christ, like his homeless ministry or his travel. I mean, I don't think he travels that much, really, and I think other churches sometimes help him foot the bill for that. And I don't know how much he puts into a homeless ministry. I don't see any evidence of that on his videos or website or anything ever. So I'm thinking a lot of that goes into his music ministry, which is really just something that is a profit for himself, straight profit for himself, any money he makes off of that. So, as long as people are okay knowing that that's what their money could be used for, they're free to do it if they love his music. I mean, I hope they're not also just paying for the music and then um, donating to even make it possible. I mean, that's your call, I guess, if you want to donate that way and pay that much and support him that much. But just know, that's where his money goes. Apparently, allegedly, So, moving on quickly, I'm just going to run you through the section of my website that has all the receipts on what I'm talking about when I say financial sketchiness and shenanigans and whatnot. Those are kind of cute euphemisms, but some of this looks pretty fraudulent to me. I'm no expert. I could be wrong, but some of this is it's pretty bad, whether it's illegal or not. It's just creepy, some of the stuff he does, and I'll show you real quick. Just a few things, just so you know. And this is the only things I've ever picked up on. I don't do this full time. I spend months or years away sometimes. And even then, when I poke my nose around and look at a few posts on his website, I can find this stuff real easily, so I know I miss a lot. And boy, I welcome you all. If you ever see anything, say something. Let me know, because I will make a receipt out of it and gladly just keep a file of it, because, the more we do this, I think the more obvious it gets to anybody who has any questions about it that he is not honest about what he's doing with his money, allegedly. So the first part centers on his first GoFundMe back in his army days. Keep in mind that I've only started covering him when he's been in ministry, been on Facebook, claiming to be a Christian. So, he can never blame anything that I report on, oh, that was my non-Christian days, because I don't go there. But anyway, this is the GoFundMe that he was accused of starting for the soldier's family, the guy who drowned, and then never giving that money to anybody, and actually changing the GoFundMe. Instead of giving any money back, he took the money that was there and then changed it to his name, and put it down as, this is now about my ministry expenses. And then he went and bought a car with the money, and you can read more about that elsewhere. I may do another video on it sometime, but you can go to my website and check that one out. I'm not going to go through everything right now. And something else that is very common with Marcus ever since he started his ministry online is profile scamming. I mean, we all know that goes on, and most big YouTubers have, those guys that put cheesy kind of comments, and they're really usually obvious, because it's like it doesn't even sound like them, the way they type, the verbiage they use, and whatever. It's just, oh, hello, darling, or hello, dear sister, or something where he's trying, it's some kind of pitch for an orphanage in Africa, which only I think the slowest of the slow would probably fall for that. But Marcus, in my opinion, allegedly scams online a lot. He was accused of that in the army. They were not able to prosecute him because they traced all his dealings to Nigeria, which Nigeria is known for that. Nigeria has no, reciprocity with trying to catch or rein in any kind of internet scamming that goes on there. It's terrible. So we even have documentation from one of his exes who said that, yeah, he does that. I knew about that. I saw the guy. I saw him talking to the guy. He does that kind of thing, and he's always had tons and tons out there, more than I think the average celebrity out there. Just tons of fake Marcus Rogers. And I get emails a lot from people saying that, oh, Marcus Rogers contacted me and he was trying to get me to send money, but I didn't. And I just wanted you to know I think it's fake. And, it could be some of them are, but I really don't think they all are, because, that's what some of the women who have known him, he's had a lot of little side pieces through the years, and they all say they've met him through Facebook and met him through fake profiles, and he would, befriend them on Facebook and say, hey, how are ya? And try to, strike up a little conversation, maybe a little flirtation, and sometimes ask for money, and sometimes just ask, hey, you want to meet up somewhere? And that's kind of how he rolls, I mean, That's the receipts and the research I've done have all pointed in that direction. And what else makes me sort of raise my eyebrows about him is that he's never gotten his accounts verified. Just recently, he got Instagram verified because I think there was such a big fake account there that he really wanted to do something about it because it was cutting into his views and likes and whatever, you know. But for the most part, uh, he does nothing about all the fake stuff out there. He doesn't report them, he doesn't shut them down, he doesn't get verified, so it's easy to tell which ones are fake. He just lets it go, and you just gotta wonder why. So, this guy here I thought had a pretty credible incident as well, where he said he had some interaction online with someone he thought was Marcus Rogers, and it seemed very credible. And the guy asked for some money so they could record an album together or something, and then just ghosted him. So, you gotta wonder. You just gotta wonder. So after he got out of the army, he did another GoFundMe because he had absolutely no job and no prospects. Um, it looked to me, though, he somehow managed to buy a new vehicle because you could see in his car selfie videos that it was a different vehicle. So I don't really know what he did with all that money. He probably never would have told anybody if you'd asked. So it was about 10 grand, and it was only up for a short time, and then he kind of gave up and moved on to other things. So in 2019, I sort of caught on to something strange going on a few of his videos and posts. He was doing this thing where he would ask people for Cash App IDs and say he's going to bless people and give them finances. And it was all really weird and shady looking. I actually looked online and heard that that is actually a common scam called, it has a name, Cash App flipping, where, you know, then these people who probably aren't the brightest bulbs in the tree put out their cash apps, so they get solicitations all of a sudden from someone named Marcus Rogers, surprise surprise, who says, hey, I really do want to bless you, but please send me $10 so I will send you 100. You know, it's like that stupid email thing where you got to send the guy in Africa, the prince in Africa needs you to help him get his fortune back. Now, I don't know if anything he has ever done has made me as angry as this one. I saw this on Facebook. He posted that he really wants money. Guys, please donate money. We have an emergency in our church family. We have a family that we need to put them in a hotel. They had some crisis and they have nowhere to live. So please, please send some money quick, and I'll make sure they get into a hotel till they can get it all sorted out. Well, okay, we never heard again whatever happens. For some reason, never did. And until a few weeks later, I actually got an email, and the guy said, I'm the guy, I'm the father in that family, and Marcus never gave us that money, and we did go to the church, you know, and we actually donated some, you know, I was in their band, I played for their worship, and we actually donated some very expensive musical instruments to them, and then, you know, we did have a problem, and Marcus just kind of turned his back. You know, he didn't give us any of that money. I don't know what he did with it. You know, he raised a few thousand at least and never gave us anything. And he, you know, contacted me just so I would know. You know, and when I hear stuff like this, because I do hear other things here and there, and I just say, you know what? There's nothing, you know, I'll report it in my blog. I'm happy to do that. I'll either put it anonymously if you want or not. But you know, you really need to report this to the authorities because I've tried, but they will not take a report from me. The FBI won't investigate, the police won't investigate. It needs to come from the source, and then they might take action. But so far, I've not come across anybody willing to try and follow up, and that's just really sad. But it is what it is. Here's another case that someone contacted me. This lady wanted to donate money to Marcus, and so she did. And then she noticed the story about the homeless family. Like within a few minutes, she somehow stumbled on it. So she went and called him right back and said, "Oh, you know what? I think I changed my mind. Can I have a refund?" And you know, it's kind of within his rights to say no, but then again, the way he did it was really just shady because he lied about it. He said she tried to post on Facebook and say, "Hey, listen, he wouldn't honor my request," and he just said, "Oh, she donated to a fake profile. It's unfortunate that that happens." But she was able to give me documentation and that she had, texted with his wife and that they thanked her, and it definitely went to his ministry. But he tried to just gaslight, and then he wound up calling her names, and instead of just admitting anything or saying, "Hey, I'm sorry," or just to keep the peace and preserve his reputation, he could have given her a money back or a little bit or anything. But what he did was just lie and gaslight about it, and that's just sad. The biggest one he's ever pulled, I think, was his when he bought his church building. We did a lot of looking into that. We actually called the church that sold it to him, and they didn't sell it to him. They donated it to him. We spoke to two different people there who confirmed it and told us in detail how that went about and why they did it that way. And then a guy on YouTube made a video and he was kind of snarky about it. And he sort of blew it when he did this thing where he said, "Oh, yeah, this is confirmed. We had given him some info and a heads up about this when we were going to publish." And he kind of ran with it. He went a bit too far in telling people, "Well, if you don't believe me, you can just call the church because, the church told us that he, got it donated to him." Well, the church got absolutely overloaded and they were pretty freaked out because they had no idea that Marcus had pulled this fast one. Marcus had told his followers he was raising $550,000 and that this would cover, the cost of the building. And then we find out the building was donated. And once that happened, the church would no longer talk about it at all. They would no longer confirm that that's what happened. So, it's unfortunate, but you can't really blame them either. I mean, they were completely blindsided and probably just horrified. Marcus made video after video begging for money, saying he was going to use it for a school for the kids. It was a really old rundown building and probably had lots of code violations, and I think that the church selling it just didn't want to deal with it. And then he buys this thing and he says, "Oh gosh, guys, we did it. We raised the money, but we're going to have nothing left after this." And then we find out it was donated to him. So did he really raise that much? He didn't have to raise that much, it turns out. So maybe he didn't raise much at all. We will never know because he denied it. But I also have documentation from the County Recorder of Deeds website that show he did not pay anything for it. And the bylaws of the church that donated it also state that they actually had that building donated to them, and it's against their bylaws for them to sell it for a profit to another church. So they were kind of required to donate it to another church. If they had sold it to a developer for some other reason, they could have made some money on it. But they just decided they weren't getting any offers for the business world, and they thought it'd be nice to have us keep a church in this area, so they donated it to Marcus in all good faith. And Marcus just did a bunch of monkey business. So, there's all kinds of stuff. I mean, maybe that's illegal. I don't know. He lied for sure. Maybe there's some technicality where you can say I used some of the money for something or another, closing costs or something, but good grief. He did not have or spend $550,000 on that church building. I will stand 10 toes down on that. And if he wants to come after me for it, I welcome it because I am sure the disclosure will be in my favor. Well, let's just take one more look at this. I have never in my life seen anything so selfish and greedy and just callous towards people who just give to him thinking that maybe they're helping others and helping spread the word of the Lord, and that just isn't happening. Words just fail me when I see this. It breaks my heart, and it must break God's heart too to just see this all done in Jesus' name. I hope if you're following him, you will stop and think before you donate to him and do more praying and soul searching as to if that's a good idea. Does this man really need your money? And if you don't follow him, maybe just pray with me that he will repent and stop doing this and maybe turn into the kind of person who gives his worldly goods away instead of hoarding them. Once again, thanks again, you guys, for watching and praying with me, and I will see you again soon. May God bless you with all grace and peace through Jesus Christ our Lord.